Okay, we're back with our Week 7 edition of the Thursday Night Tailgate. Hopefully everyone out there checked out our Week 6 recap on Wednesday night. What we're going to do now is take a look at the Thursday games. As you can tell, once again, we're on location. We're at Harry's Barbershop in Jim Thorpe. Boy, what a great place to come and get a haircut, talk about sports. I mean, it don't get any better than that. And we're right down in the hub of things where the big Anthracite Football League action is this week for the big Jim Thorpe Mahanoy Area game, which we're going to get to. Obviously, that's our game of the week this week. So we're going to preview all the games. First game we're going to talk about, as far as the Anthracite Football League goes, is Blue Mountain at Schuylkill Valley. Blue Mountain coming into the league next year. Blue Mountain has a record now 2-4. They got a huge win last week. They're playing Schuylkill Valley. Is this two teams going in different directions, Coach Davis?
You know, I think there's a bunch of good teams down in the Berks League this year.
Boy, it sure seems to be. I mean,
you know, and Schuylkill Valley just lost to Berks Catholic and Fleetwood, who are both very good teams. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Schuylkill Valley, you know, even though they lost 2 in a row, I don't think you have to really panic. But at the same time, this is a must-win for them. Yep. You know, if they want to keep any kind of district hopes alive, any playoff hopes, they got to get a win here.
Luckily for them, their nemesis has always been Wild Missing, and they're down this year. So
yeah, so it's a tough one for Blue Mountain. Going on the road, Schuylkill Valley had 2 big wins in a row, so it should be an interesting. I'm looking forward to see how this game matches up here.
Okay, we're going to move on and take a look at Allen at Lehighton. Allen 0-6 coming into Lehighton, and you know, Allen and Deerfield are 2 teams that always seem to be tied together when you're talking about we used to be in the Lehigh Valley Conference, now both of them being in the MVC. But Deerfield having some success this year. Allen struggling, and you know, Lehighton probably look at their chops. I mean, they need a win. They need to build on last week. They're 3-3 right now, and you know, there's nowhere Lehighton would rather be after next week than 4-3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Deerfield and Allen comparisons are done, because Deerfield's doing very well, and Allen's still really struggling. They haven't a win. They scored 36 points this entire year, and to make matters worse, a lack of offense going against a very stout defense. Lehighton, you know, I failed to mention in the recap before, Lehighton last week held East Stroudsburg North to 141 yards of total offense and 6 first downs, and only 2 passing yards the entire game. And now facing an Allen team that only has scored 36 points. Like I said, they got to be licking their chops, and like I said, Brian Miller and the defensive staff really doing some good things there. And one of the big concerns though is last year we got to remember that Lehighton lost this game. It was a very similar situation. I think Lehighton was 2-4 at the time. Went down to Allen, J. Bernie Crum on a Saturday afternoon and lost the game. So Lehighton's got to be careful. But I think being back at home, which ironically, the stat of the week, Coach Davis, was that you putting that on the notes there? Lehighton hasn't won a home game yet this year. They're 3-3, but they were all on the road. So I'm anticipating the first home win for Lehighton, and I'm betting. Coach McCarroll mentioned a few times this week about how they lost last year.
I'm sure, and you know, 48 points. You know, that's for Lehighton's playoffs hopes in District 11 3A. That was huge. Next, another non-conference game. Actually, we got North Schuylkill at Mount Carmel, heading to the Silver Bowl. Obviously, a tough place to win all the time. North Schuylkill came up with a huge win last week against Mount Carmel. You know, can they get it done this week and get the record of 5-2, keep their district playoff hopes in their own hands? What do you think of this one?
Yeah, right now North Schuylkill, it's week in and week out. It's going to be a playoff game for them.
Yeah.
You know, they were 3-2. They had to play Tamaqua. They won that one. They got Mount Carmel this week. They got to win this one, and it's just going to be week in and week out that it's a must win. If they want to make districts, they got to keep winning. And Mount Carmel's 3-3. They lost to Southern Columbia, who's extremely good this year.
Yeah,
they're gonna make a run in
yes, they are.
in the eastern half of the state this year.
They're one of the favorites.
Right, they're one of the favorites. Single A is very tough this year. And then they got beat by Montoursville, who was undefeated. They got 18-13. So I mean, Mount Carmel's played some very good teams, and it's gonna be a tough matchup for North Schuylkill. I expect it, no matter who wins, I expect it to be very close.
Absolutely. And for North Schuylkill, you talk to some North Schuylkill people, this is their rivalry game. I know it's out of league, but this is a big game for them every year. And every year it's a very intriguing game. But and I like North Schuylkill's chances if they take care of the ball. And that's what it's been coming down to all year long, taking care of the ball. Last week, 3 turnovers against Tamaqua. The week before, a ton of turnovers in the second half against Marion. They can't do that against Mount Carmel.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And Mount Carmel's looking at this and, thinking that they could get to 4-3 and improve their playoff chances. Boy, this is going to be an interesting one, and I agree. It's going to be a close one, and, if it comes down to turnovers, North Schuylkill got to be a big concern based on the way they've been putting the ball on the ground the last few weeks. Next, we're going to go to Coal Country, Minersville at Marion. Minersville, like we said, young, inexperienced. They had a few guys banged up, namely Heffron earlier in the year. They're 0-6 right now. Marion's rolling. Marion's 3-3 right now, and they got a chance to get above 500. And Marion's got to be feeling really good about themselves, but the injury bug has bit them a bit.
Yeah, early in the season, Marion had a couple banged up kids here and there, but now they legitimately have some major injuries. Snur is out for the season, from what we understand. They lost Bruno last week at tailback against Panther Valley, and now we understand that Lucas Damien is out for 2 weeks with a minor knee injury. He's going to be back, but maybe a week or two. We're not really sure. Minersville, kids are kids, and they got to be excited about this game. Not taking advantage of the fact, or happy that kids are injured, but they got to say, hey, we have a shot in this. We've been playing hard. We've been playing teams well into the second quarter. Now Marion's down a little bit. This might be our chance to win.
Yeah, I think you look at Minersville right now, and they're up here. And you got Minersville, which it sounds like Coach Mason keeps talking. It sounds like they're hungry. Yep. They come out every week. They believe they're going to win, and they're just kind of getting worn down. And, this is one of those games for Marion. You can't look past Minersville because anything can happen on a Friday night in this league. You're banged up. You're without Lucas Damon, who's probably the leader of your team. We've talked about him week in and week out.
Best defensive player in the league. We always talk offense, but that side too.
And last week, Minersville moved the ball a little bit on Jim Thorpe early in the game. Yep. It was 0-0 going into the second quarter. They were battling with him. They moved the ball on him. But this is an interesting game. I think it's a lot more interesting than what
the records say.
Yes.
And, Coach Mason saying that the Minersville kids are still hungry, I think is extremely impressive. Right now, you're 6 weeks into the season, and when you're 0-6, you're going to go one of two ways. You're just going to bide your time and get through the season, or you're going to stay hungry and try to pull an upset, try to make a memory with the rest of your high school season. Because, regardless of how few seniors you have, this team you have right now, you only have once. And there's a few games out there, Minersville can be competitive, and they have shots to get wins. They're there. They've been in these games, and they just need to string together 4 quarters and see what happens. So I think it is an interesting matchup as well. I do not think Minersville, being the type of kids that Minersville has, that we've seen, for the last how many years as coaches, going back to being participants against Minersville. We know they're tough kids. Mm-hmm. We know the type of guy Coach Mason is. Yep. And, if they keep plugging away like that, they're going to have a shot. And, Marion's got to have their guard up this week. But they do have a shot to go 4-3.
It seems every year in the league there's one big upset, too. And who knows? This upset alert, as they say. This might be one to look at. I still think Marion's the favorite, obviously. But,
sure, definitely. Definitely. And especially coming off a few wins, Marion's got to be feeling good. Yeah. But, there are some things there to look at. The injuries and, if Minersville has a few kids back and stays focused, that this could be one that they can make very interesting.
Absolutely.
Next game, we got Alumni Night at PV.
Yep.
Right? Alumni Night.
Homecoming, Alumni Night.
Homecoming, Alumni Night. Jesse Hiles down the Sports Zoo, just a short punt from the stadium. Yep. Always does a great job. A lot of good things for the Panthers, and especially on this particular night. But we got Shenandoah coming to town. Both teams 1-5. Both teams, I'm sure, are licking their chops for this game, knowing that they got a shot to get their second win of the year. And this is an interesting matchup. I think it's two teams that are very similarly matched when you look at some of the skill players. Both these teams got some kids that can make some plays, And, what do you think it's going to come down to?
I think it's going to come down to fundamentals. I think it's who takes care of the football, who eliminates turnovers, who eliminates penalties. I really think PV coming home, I know PV, the numbers, they're a little banged up looking at them the other night at the Marion game. Shenandoah's got some playmakers. So does PV. So I think it's all about matchups. I don't know if PV has anyone in the secondary that can handle mass scoring. I don't know if there's anybody on Shenandoah's defense that can handle Ferryman and Ace. So it's going to be interesting. It really is. I expect some points in this game. I don't know. It should be very interesting. Coach, what do you think?
Yeah, speaking of Ferryman and Ace, I think in the league this year you can't find too many tandems that are better than them two. I mean, they're both on pace, I think, for 1,000. I know Kyle definitely is. Richard, I think, is right on pace for 1,000-yard rushing, and that's pretty impressive. But I really think PB needs to diversify a little bit. They got to get somebody else involved, whether it's a receiver like Mahalik or a C. Callegro or even Ryan Schubeck. We talked about Ryan many times. He's in the backfield. Maybe let's see what he could do carrying the ball. He had 2 carries against Marion for 11 yards. But I think when you're so narrowed on 2 kids, teams can key on that, and they need to diversify. They'll still put up numbers. I really think they will, but the main number is the victory. But on the positive side for PV, up at that Marion game the other night, I thought that was the most physical they played all year long, especially on defense.
And their defense got after it, and that's, we talked about it the previous week against Haven, watching it on film, that we were impressed with, Haven, a tough team, and, if you just looked at the final score, you might think otherwise, but that was a 28-15 game, I think, with about 7 minutes left in the game, and, PV's defense the last 2 weeks has certainly made strides. I mean, you can't argue with that. So, if they can continue that against a team like Shenandoah, should be interesting.
Yeah, it sounded like Shenandoah had a little bit of trouble last week protecting their quarterback, and with Nace and Schubeck on the D-line for PV, if they can't control those guys, McCole might be in for a rough night. If they could, McCole.
And Mark Williams, who's been coming along well at linebacker. I was pretty impressed with him. I thought, again, he had another good game.
Yeah, Mark had another good game. So, again, this is a game that go either way. Very interesting matchup, so I'm curious to see how this works out.
Yeah, and you mentioned Meskornik, a tough guy for anyone to defend in the secondary, but McCole, he's someone that I've been real impressed with the last couple of weeks, taking over as a sophomore, and maybe not necessarily getting the wins, but moving the team, putting some points on the board, and McColl's a talented kid, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, that should be an exciting game.
Yep.
All right, we got 2 more games to take a look at. Next is our honorable mention game of the week, Tamaqua at Haven.
I like how we're working the honorable mention thing in every week now.
Yeah, I mean,
a couple of weeks ago we thought that was a little off, but I like that.
Sure, I mean, this is a big game. This is a big game. Tamaqua's 3-3. They're looking at Eastern Conference right now.
Yep.
That's what they control, Eastern Conference. For them to get into districts, they need to take care of business, and they probably need some help. That's kind of where they're at right now. Haven at 4-2, they control their destiny for the AFL. They control their destiny for districts.
Yep.
And this is a game that is huge as far as the league goes, and huge as far as districts go in both single and double A.
Right, you're talking about Haven. Haven's playing a double A team with a couple wins under their belt, so if they get this win, that'll probably catapult them into the top 4 in districts.
And they're not there now.
They're not there now. They're on 5. I believe they're at the 5 spot. But Tamaqua's big thing is, can they stop the run? Week in and week out. Starting from week 1, Jim Thorpe ran all over them. It seems like they're giving up yards on the ground. Well, Haven, if they don't have to run any trick plays, they're not going to run any trick plays, They're just going to run it. I don't know when Fink's coming back.
3rd and 17. The dive's coming. That's what you're telling us.
Right. They're going to try to
they're an I team now, so it's ISO.
ISO, okay.
But honestly, though, Fink's been out for a few weeks. Is this the game he comes back for? Is it next week? I don't know. But when they get those kids back, Haven, and it's been said in the papers and this and that, when Haven gets healthy, you're not going to want to play them because they haven't been healthy all year. Mm-hmm. And they were the league favorites for a reason. They're still right there.
Yeah, going into this season, if we'd have looked at the schedule, we'd say this is our game of the week, week 7.
Sure.
You know, and it's still the honorable mention game of the week, though, so they're still doing fine. But you're talking about Haven. I'm going to talk about Tamaqua. Tamaqua needs to win this game. Tamaqua wins this game, they're going to be favored the next 2 weeks against Panther Valley and Minersville, and then they go most likely. And again, they got to play the games. That's why they play the games. But they go 6-3 into Marion with the chance to go 7-3 against a team that'll have some wins.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Oh
for
yeah,
them.
they might squeak into districts, or they're definitely looking at a solid, maybe a home game for Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
So this is huge for them.
It really is, like you say. You know, you get to 4-3, looking ahead at 2 games that you're thinking you're probably the team that would be favored in those games, and yeah, absolutely huge. Which brings us to our next game. The reason that we're in Jim Thorpe, the reason that we went up to Mahanoy. 2 teams that are at the top of the AFL, undefeated in the league, and you know, it's not shocking that these teams are doing well. We thought Mahanoy Area would do well. Maybe we didn't think that about Thorpe. I don't think many people did, and that's a huge credit to them, the kids and the coaching staff. But for both of these teams to be undefeated at this point of the season in the league, let's face it, is there anyone who could have predicted that?
This is the preseason number 7 versus the preseason number 5
In the coaches' poll.
in the coaches poll. So that tells you, hey, that means nothing.
Yeah, next year, ignore those polls. You know, you young guys that are watching this, ignore them.
Or use them as motivation,
Or that,
which
yeah.
these guys probably did.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at these 2 teams and they're kind of mirror images of themselves.
They're very similar.
You know, offensively, they throw up crazy points. Defensively, they're much improved. They got great quarterbacks. Linemen have improved a whole lot. I mean, you can just feel the buzz. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we had one of our followers this week say there hasn't been a buzz like this since week 1 or week 2, which at the beginning of the year, everyone's excited.
Yeah.
But I mean, now it's week 7. This is the matchup that we're choosing as our game of the week, rightfully so. But I mean, it's awesome. Mahanoy scored 316 points this year. Jim Thorpe scored 217, which is 100 points difference, but still 52 points per game and 36 points per game. That's incredible.
And I think, speaking of that, a key point is let's take a look at the opponents.
Right.
Let's remove the 73 points against Carson Lawn that Mahanoy Area scored. Let's talk about Jim Thorpe's game against Blue Mountain.
And North Schuylkill.
And North Schuylkill. You know, I was as impressed with Jim Thorpe against Blue Mountain, even in a loss, as I was with some of their other games. I mean, maybe not just looking at the final score, but if you saw that game, if you saw the way that Jim Thorpe moved the ball, if you saw the way that their linemen did the job against Blue Mountain, both sides of the ball, it was very impressive. I think that, you know, people might just be looking at those numbers for Mahanoy Area a little too much, but dig a little deeper into those numbers. I think it makes it very, very interesting.
And you guys are talking offense. I want to talk a little defense here. Jim Thorpe last week, they were talking a little bit about the return of the Red Swarm. The Red Swarm was big back in their 2004 undefeated team. Chris Wakowiak, the D coordinator that year, Coach Rosenberger, obviously the head coach, and now they're starting to finally make comparisons to that team again. You know, because defensively they've been lights out lately, and that's the match. I think there's 2 matchups. Jim Thorpe's defense against Mahanoy's offense, ranked number 1 in the state points-wise. And then, and I hate to do this because I like to make it a team game, but the quarterback versus quarterback. Right now, it kind of reminds me, you guys remember a couple of years ago, Cole Wheatchalk from Minersville and Mike Gavel from Mahanoy Area, the 2 best offensive players in the league. And that's what this is kind of shaping up to be with Ryan Saunders II and oh my God.
Dylan Manuel.
Yeah, Dylan Manuel.
Come on.
I'm sorry, he was my player of the week twice this year. But I'm just...
Video game numbers, Coach.
Oh, I know. I'm throwing things out here. I'm getting all excited, and that's what this game's all about. Everybody's getting excited. This place is going to be rocking. A couple blocks up the street here, it's going to be one of those where you got to park a half mile away just to get to the stadium and wait a quarter mile in line to get into the game. This is going to be great.
Yeah, if you're coming in early, you should get a haircut here. You can get a hoagie up at Tommy's, and then
Harry Charles Barbershop, $5.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
You get a great
Less
hoagie
than
up
a
at
hoagie.
Tommy's, $5. You know, I used to bake rolls that had great hoagies, but I mean,
Get into town early on Friday night. Get into Jim Thorpe early.
it's gonna be awesome. It is gonna be electric. There'd probably be some fog down there. That field is always like a swamp down there. It doesn't rain in weeks except for one day, and it'll be a swamp down there. You know, you'll have smoke from that Booster Club stand all over the field.
Oh, those cheeseburgers and hamburgers over there, that smells delicious.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those feelings that it's a Friday night, you know, you're going to get there, there's going to be a buzz, and it's going to be awesome. And a Friday morning, pick up a newspaper, read it, after school, read it, you know, like, just let it happen, you know, get excited about the game.
Absolutely. You're watching this Thursday night or maybe later, but you know, if any of you players that are involved in this game are watching it, enjoy every second of pregame. Enjoy every second you have leading up to this game, because you know, you don't get many opportunities in your life to experience something like this. It's certainly have a lot of moments that are much more important, you know, more life altering type things. But as far as just, you know, getting a kickback and playing an awesome game, you know, this is as good as it gets.
Can you imagine
really
those kids in school on Friday trying to pay attention to like an economics lecture or something like that?
I'm hoping there are any teachers in Jim Thorpe or Mahanoy that are giving a quiz or a test.
Video day on
You know,
Friday.
cut them a break. You know, put a video in.
And we're all teachers too. That's what we're saying. That.
All right, I mean, closing up, you know, our thoughts on this game. Personally, it's at Jim Thorpe, and I keep looking back at the teams that Jim Thorpe has played, and I'm as big as a Mahanoy Area guy as they coming into the year. I thought Mahanoy Area was a team that was going to be very good. I think those kids are tremendous athletes. I think you got to give Thorpe a slight edge. That's my thoughts.
Are we doing predictions now?
No, that's not a prediction.
I'm
I'm not predicting a win or loss. I'm just saying at Jim Thorpe, a little better competition. I would give them a slight edge.
You have your edge? Yes, I got my edge.
Ooh, I didn't know we were gonna do this.
Okay,
you go yours, and I'm gonna think
Here's
about
what
it
I'm
for a
thinking.
little bit.
I'm thinking whatever team controls the line of scrimmage is going to win this game. Mahanoy Area, again, I was with a couple of their guys last night. Their senior leaders on the line.
And they're fantastic kids.
They're
fantastic athletes.
kids. And you listen to Kavinas, he's hoping to go to West Point. You got Bolusky, and I'm losing the other name right now. Catchmark. One's going to Marines, another one's going, like 3 military guys on the line. You know, Thorpe, their line is like transformed into a line that opening up Cadillac-sized holes. You know, so
Brad Hurley times.
whoever.
Cadillacs are big.
They're
right?
big.
They're big. They're big holes.
Yeah, my grandfather had a Cadillac. I didn't want to touch that thing.
Right. Okay.
But I'm just saying, whoever controls the line of scrimmage wins this game. I think they match up elsewhere on the field that I think the line of scrimmage is where this game's going to be won.
Okay.
All right, during Coach Davis's dissertation, I'm giving Mahanoy Area the slight edge. I just have a feeling. I think Coach Rosenberger has the more experience in big games. I think Jim Thorpe has played a better competition, but I don't know, something about Mahanoy this year. Plus, I wanted a little balance.
All right, guys. District standings. Let's take a look at this. It's pretty interesting. I'll tell you, the one thing that jumps out at me right off the bat, jumps off the page, Jim Thorpe 5-1 as of now on the outside looking in District 11 3A playoffs. Right now, the playoffs started today. They're not in. This is not only big for them in the Anthracite League for their league championship, but this is big for them for districts. I mean, Jim Thorpe doesn't have much room for error.
Not at all. If you're on the outside looking in and you lose, that makes it even harder, you know. And you're 5-1. You're behind Lehighton and Pottsville, who Lehighton and Pottsville are both going to play big schools the rest of the year. You know, you got to just keep doing what you can do and win your games.
There's a lot of season left for that to pan out, but you're right, this is huge. You need those power points, you need to beat teams that have wins, and I can't begin to explain the formula anymore. You know, they changed it up last year, but I know that when you beat good teams, it really helps you out, and Jim Thorpe has to get this one. You know, or else they might be, you know, amazing as it seems, 5-1, they might be looking at the Eastern Conference if they don't get this game.
All right, well, it's going to be an exciting week. It's probably, well, not probably, it is the biggest game that we've had so far this year in the Anthracite Football League. So everyone going out to the games this Friday night, enjoy yourself, have fun. That's what it's all about. So for our Week 7 edition of the Thursday Night Tailgate, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Harry Carroll and Kevin and Brian Carroll for having us down here at the barbershop. It was a good time, and that's it for us. Coercion Football out.
All right, welcome everybody. We are here in the Mahanoy Area Wrestling Room. You can see the big bear sign on the wall here. We are here with the 4 Mahanoy Area captains, all seniors. Tyler Kavinas, Josh Katchmar, Steve Bolesky, and Dylan Maymon. So guys, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a great season going on so far. I got some questions here, so we can kind of see what your thoughts are, and the fans at home can get to know you a little bit. So the first thing, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this, is what's the biggest difference from last year to this year?
I'll go first. I think definitely leadership. Our seniors stepped up this year, all of us, not just these 4 captains, but I think we changed a 2-A season to what we could do and what we're capable of doing. So I think it starts off with leadership in the senior class by far. I don't know what you guys think.
I think after basketball season ended for us, I think we all got together and we were like, we don't want to be that 2-8 football team anymore. We want to start winning games and get back a little bit of the Bear pride. So we got to work. We started lifting. We started coming in this wrestling room and running over plays and just getting everything down. And then once we got out onto the field, it would just all click together.
Yeah, I agree with both these guys. It just seems like we're more tired as a family. And
Oh yeah, everybody in the locker room, you could tell everybody on the team is friends, and not just friends, but close friends. We do everything together, and we make sure that we get the younger guys under our wings and everything like that. So definitely what Steve said, he's right there.
I think the work in the off season was different as well.
Yep.
Last year it was kind of come in.
If you want to do something, do it.
Did a 15-minute lift and go home. This year it was, if you're not playing basketball, you're in the weight room for an hour and a half a day, and then when you're done basketball, you're coming over here to get a lift in.
Yep.
Awesome. Who's the vocal leader on the team? If you had to pick out one person who you think the vocal leader is, what would you have to say?
I'd probably say Cabanas, I think. Mostly because he's probably one of the loudest. He can't say that from his dad, Terry, but yeah, definitely him. He's always talking at practice, getting people on their assignments, and that's what it is. One play, one assignment every time. That's what we gotta do.
Yeah, when I'm out there, I make sure everybody is pumped up and everything. We got to keep practice going because sometimes it gets to a slow pace during practice.
Right.
And you just got to get everybody get going, start joking around maybe a little bit here and
A
there.
little enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Get a couple jokes in there, make it fun.
yeah.
How's the coaching staff? They good guys?
Oh,
Just
come on.
Yeah?
Come on.
Yeah.
The coaching staff. You got Coach Holland, he's awesome. You got Coach here, he's a little energizer bunny. You got him going. Coach Lusso and Coach G.
G's like Peter Griffin.
His laugh just makes everybody laugh. You got Coach Lusso doing his Duluth insanity.
Yeah.
Got us in here working all summer. And then Coach Greg, he's just doing an awesome job with the kids that he got. So definitely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely helps playing for people that you respect and you can have a good time.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
It's just like playing with one of us.
Yeah, it's awesome. So far this season, 6-0. You've avoided any letdowns. You heard the whole thing. You didn't play anybody yet. What's your favorite memory so far this year?
I think we all decided with beating Tamaqua. Beating Tamaqua was definitely one of the standing points in the season where it's just showing that everybody that we're not just a joke this year, and we're definitely not a 2-A team like everybody said before, but knowing that we're serious and we're for real.
Everybody said that was our first real test, and I think we shut up and got the job done.
Yeah, that's usually our letdown game. That's the one we have
All 3 years or 20 years, freshman, sophomore.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Who do you play the week before that?
Marion.
Yeah,
So coming off that victory for Marion, usually you get that high and then you crash and
yeah.
you lose a team that you think you should beat every year. But this year we kept it going.
It's awesome. One of the things I've noticed on Twitter is that it seems like the atmosphere in school, a lot of school spirit. Seems like there's always people talking about, wishing the volleyball team good luck. And what's the atmosphere like in school and around town right now?
Just like on the football team, we're all close.
It's all
As
in.
a community.
Yeah.
Everybody. Especially the best part about it is alumni coming back and supporting us. We got the DAPL club. I know we still have them at every game with their blowhorn getting kicked out and stuff like that. We got his dad Terry getting kicked out more than he's in the game. But yeah, everybody around town and especially in the school, for homecoming we do this thing called Spirit Week.
Yeah.
So we usually do a different day and we do something every different day. And then you got the pep rally Friday, but that's probably the best week in school.
Did you have your homecoming yet?
Yeah, we had it. That was against
Mine as well. But I think you could see it, like the little kids, you're walking through the hallway, they all want to slap your hand.
High fives.
Yeah, they're all proud of you and everything, and it makes you smile and everything. And we actually have, the girls have a volleyball game tonight, and we all go over, all the football players, we all go support them and we cheer for them and everything like that. And, yeah.
We just make it known that if they're gonna do it for us, we're gonna do it for them.
Yeah.
We have this like count up on our wall by Mr. Holmes' office, our athletic director. It's like how many wins to like 100. If you get like 100 wins the whole season, you get like a pizza party. And I think right now we're on track to beat 100. Like we didn't beat 100 our whole like years in high school, so this would be like a good year to do it. We're already at like 30, I'd say.
30 is 30.
Yeah.
You know, you got four weeks left, and high school football, you're not guaranteed anything. And, you know, I'm sure you guys expect to keep this rolling here. What are your goals for the remainder of the season here?
One play, one assignment, as Coach Ito always says. You got to take it 1 week at a time, one play at a time, one assignment at a time. And
Just like we've been doing.
yep, that's what we've been doing week to week. And
Can't treat any opponent any differently. Gotta go in it thinking the same exact thing. Just win. Do whatever it takes. Win to win.
win to win, that's what.
Whatever it takes to win.
Yep.
That's our motto.
But that's definitely what we need. We take one play, one assignment every time. And
But if you're talking overall, I think we could all agree on going undefeated, going to the districts, winning it,
yeah.
and then going deep in the states.
Awesome. One thing I wasn't thinking of, these are all seniors. How about plans after this year? I know you don't want to look ahead, savor the moment here, but what kind of plans for down the road here? Anybody have anything lined up yet?
Well, I'm kind of left out with this whole crew right here. We got Cavanus, what are you doing?
I'm hopefully going to West Point to play football. Richard Smith's up there.
Yep, Richard's up there.
But that's where I want to go, and everything looks good so far, so we'll see what happens.
Got the Marine Corps right there. Josh Cashmar in the service.
Awesome.
And then we got the Seaman right here, Navy boy.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm the only one I think going on to college and on to the service. So I'm probably going to go to, I think, East Stroudsburg, hopefully maybe pursue my career in basketball, but definitely major in accounting. So.
Awesome. Well, it seems like you kind of took this interview over there, so maybe you can join us on the Thursday night tailgate.
I'll do it.
Okay. So,
About that.
any final thoughts? Anything you want to say here while you're going to be on YouTube here? And
I'd definitely say thanks for everybody that supported us throughout the season, especially our fans and community, and we won't let you down, make you proud. Definitely.
Yeah, agreed.
So, all right. Well, there's the Golden Bear captains here, and you know you can tell just by sitting here a couple minutes with some very respectful guys, and everything that they're doing this year, they've earned it. You know, they worked hard, 2-8 last year, and this just proves that hey, anything can turn around, and you know they were sick of getting beat up, so they said, you know what, we're going to put an end to that. We're going to work through it. So, best of luck, guys.
Thank you.
We're all rooting for you. Stay healthy, and let's have a great year.
We'll be watching Thursday night. Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. That's a good job. Appreciate it.